our restorations sort of moving in the right direction, it's time to get an update on one of our old favourites. 2019, and Dave was heading to North Yorkshire's Riviera, otherwise known as Scarborough, famous for its castle and sweeping golden beach, but also a demanding road racing circuit using public roads, Oliver's Mount, a challenging 2.5-mile track open for competition since 1946. Waiting for collection at head office was an original Austin Mini Mark I, owned by Peter Hillaby, the man in charge of racing here for 40 years.
My father bought it brand new, for all the documents, all the registration books and everything. Genuine Austin 7, bought June 1960.
It was produced about a year after Minis first rolled out of Longbridge. In this condition, it was always likely to cause big interest at the auction.
10-2, 10,002, 10-2, 10-3, 10,300 submitted, 10-3.
Hi there.
Keith Stewart had to push his offer up by 200 quid.
Lovely, thank you very much.
But he still got a bargain. He was planning for a minimal restoration.
I'm just going to keep it like it is. I'm going to preserve it, bring it back on the road and make sure the originality stays there.
Now, 3 years on, it seems like the restoration more or less went to plan.
I set to with a very, very good friend and we took every part off it, other than the engine. Unfortunately, the car had had a poor respray, so took it to a spray shop in East Yorkshire and then spent another week putting it all back together again. Everything under here is exactly as it was, apart from that master cylinder because the clutch wasn't working. Every ancillary item was completely stripped, and then we set to work painting the block and then obviously refurbishing all of the bits that we'd taken off. So this was a deluxe. It had these two-tone seats, it had carpets rather than rubber mats. I took them out, I cleaned them, I stuck them in the washing machine actually.
40 degrees of spin cycle of
Yes, absolutely, yeah. It's exactly as it came out of the factory, pretty much. It's remarkably good. On motorways, you'd probably feel comfortable cruising about 50. Round town, it's very, very nippy. It's only done 40,000 miles from new, so it's a car that hasn't been used an awful lot. But it's going to be used. You know, it's not an ornament.
This week, we find out what happened to the infamous Surf Blue and Rust Mark I Mini Cooper S. Three years ago, Derek found himself on his way to Stokesley, North Yorkshire. He'd been told that one of the rarest cars in the country had just been discovered.
By crumbs, it is rotten, isn't it? Dear oh Lord, look at the state of that. You need a heart like a football to do anything with it.
The car, or at least most of it, was dragged away. Derek was questioned.
Derek, at which point did you think this might be a good idea?
Oh, every point, I'll still believe it.
But the interest grew.
Correspondence from all over the globe. Emails from all over the place.
To be truthful, we were sick and tired of unsheeting it all the time, constantly.
Don't scratch it.
Derek billed it as the find of the century. A totally original, matching numbers, 1965 Mini Cooper S. Most thought around 8 to 10 grand, tops.
18,000 at the back. 18,000, thank you very much. Yeah, well done, well done.
The bidder with the heart of a lion was Peter Watchman. At this point, we're 2 years into the restoration.
For my album.
It's taken a lot of work by a skilled team to get this far.
Engine out, subframes out. One of the positive points of all this rubbish in the car was that the seats were actually in good condition. Some of the door cards are a bit damaged, but it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Then there was a big decision. Restore the existing shell or buy a new heritage body.
We realised that the shell wasn't as bad as we first thought, and we decided to repair the shell. Some of the panels on the car you can't get, but the bulk of them are genuine Mark I parts.
Peter then set about sourcing original components for the car.
Good morning and welcome to British Mini Fair here at wonderful Bingley Hall. We hope you have a great day. Please enjoy the fun.
Armed with a shopping list, he was a regular at events like this.
Trying to get a Mark I original grille, interior light, plastic binnacle, any hydroelastic parts.
It was a long, drawn-out process as Peter waited for the right parts to turn up. But after 2.5 years' graft, the Cooper S finally arrived at the paint shop.
Lovely car. It will be a lovely car.
Bob Taylor is an expert in his field.
I've given the paint codes to Dave, so he's got the colour references. So let's hope... think we're red love art, is it?
While the metalwork was being prepared for this big day, Peter used his time well.
I've been getting the subframes built up, the hydroelastic suspension refurbished. We've had an instrument maker repair all the original clocks out of the car. So once it comes back from paint, it's just a case of putting the car back together.
Rarely has a Mini seen so much love. We'll be catching up with Peter and his dream restoration later. As for the Mini Cooper S, after years of painstaking attention to detail, Peter Watchman is finally ready to show us the fruits of his labour.
I never thought that a little car like this would dominate my life for the last 3 years. It's definitely been a love-hate relationship. We had a lot of long nights and cold winters in garages, but now that I'm at the end of the journey, things don't seem so bad. It's just a lovely little car, and I wanted to get it back on the road and I wanted to keep its originality. I'm just delighted with the result. The original Gold Seal engine is still in the car. We've had it rebuilt. Obviously, some of the serviceable parts have been replaced, but not many.
It's difficult to imagine it's the same car.
I know.
But it is.
Oh, it is, yeah, yeah. You know, the wipers are the original wipers. The back seats are the original back seats out of the car. All the chrome around the doors are the original chrome. The back windows are the original. The handles are the original handles. So we kept as much as possible. It sounds beautiful. The car is wonderful to drive, and if you ask me would I do it again, I think I'm off to North America to go and try and find another one.
Back in 2018, Derek found this.
There she is. Heck of a state.
And it sold for this.
18,000, thank you very much. Yeah, well done, well done.
And now it looks like this.
You can't help but smile. It's a lovely little car.
Ever since, we've been looking for something similar. But it turns out, so has everybody else.
You know what? There must be more people out there prepared to take on a Mini project than anything else, I would think.
And it's getting harder every year.
No matter what condition that Mini Cooper or Cooper S is in, there's always a tremendous amount of interest.
So, an impossible task, some might say. But we think we might just have made the impossible possible. This is a 1969 Mini Cooper Mark II. The Mini was originally designed to carry 4 adults and their luggage at an affordable price. Released in 1959 for under £500, it did that and so much more. It was an instant success and production continued for 4 decades. It became a world motoring icon, classless, accessible to all, owned by rock stars and receptionists, a true global star car. There were many variants over the years. The most successful was the Monte Carlo rally-winning Mini Cooper, which was given a bigger engine and disc brakes. A car now highly sought after, genuine ones are rarely found. with years of experience buying and selling Minis, Derek seems suitably impressed.
Right, Mini Cooper, yes. Looks to me like a real genuine little thing. 998, in my opinion, a decent buy. Ireland blue, Snowberry white roof. It's a Morris, not an Austin, which is good. A lovely car to buy and an interesting car to buy. Not a particularly good car financially.
Which is exactly why we need to get it for a good price at auction.
And moving on to lot number 410, the 1969 Morris Mini Cooper. I've got some phones on, I've got some bids here. 13,750, says Mark. 14,000, says Andrew, at 14,000. 14,1 and 2, 14,2. So we all done then at 14,003. Internet bid and 4, 14,4, 14,5 and 6, 14,006 at 14,600. We all done at 14,007 and 8, 14,8. Third and last time at 14,800. Sold provisionally to the Bangers and Cash team for 14,800.
Probably a little more than we wanted to spend, but about right in today's market. So we sent our Mini Cooper off for surgery, but unfortunately the restorer was taken ill. So we moved it on to Mini Sport in Lancashire, a family business.
My dad had his first Mini in January 1960, so pretty much right at the beginning. And from there, he raced, rallied it, motor tested it, did all sorts with it. And by the time it came round to 1967, they had a house full of used parts, did all sorts of stuff. And my mum said, enough's enough. You better get on with selling some of that lot. So that's what they did.
And so Mini Sport was born. A parts and service provider taken on by Brian and Heather's 3 sons, Daniel, Jonathan and Chris.
I got a job here when I was 18 and I was told you can have a job until you find something better. And I'm not looking for one now, actually. I might be after I've opened this trailer.
Probably should mention at this point that the Mini isn't exactly as we bought it.
Ooh. Oh.
I thought you brought a car.
Yeah. Where's the rest of it? Oh, my word.
Oh.
There's a Paddy Hopkirk pedal on it.
Is that worth something?
Well, yeah, it is.
Well, maybe sell that and cut your losses. Wow.
Ah, so it is a Cooper. Well, the badge says it is anyway. So that's a start.
They're quite heavy for a small car, aren't they? Oh,
I wouldn't know.
You were just, you're a workshop manager, aren't you? Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, they are.
Rob will be overseeing the full restoration, which includes making sure we've remembered everything.
Where's the glass at, John?
Where's the what?
The glass.
Glass?
Yeah, with no glass. And with no doors.
Do we need glass?
Well.
So we've got some doors missing and we've got some glass missing.
Yeah. There's a few other bits and pieces missing, but I think they'll come too.
That is what we need on this job. An unwavering positive attitude.
That's what it's all about. We just love them. And it's not a forced love. It is a genuine love for the car and what it stands for. It's classless. And it doesn't matter whether you know, the poorest person on the planet or the richest. You can still get a lot of fun out of your Mini.
This is Baz, who's in charge of bodywork. And there's plenty of that to do.
Wow.
What's going through your head, Baz?
Headache.
Baz, there's obviously certain things immediately that you look for on a Mini.
Yeah.
One of them is presumably what you're looking at now.
Yeah, it's all bottom half. All bottom half goes across that's where ladder sits.
The thing is, they were only really designed to last a few years. They needed work on them. They rot. That's what they do. Well, it's a floor job, isn't it? Yeah. It's definitely a floor. Actually, now you get up here, you can see it a lot more in this side here. It's all rippled, so it's been repaired, but it's obviously got some filler in, and it's cracked here. It's had a life. It's been repaired. It's been used. What we now need to find out is how far up or where we're going with it. But that's the biggest problem.
Apart from this problem...
You've got a bulkhead problem.
You've got a big bulkhead problem.
Bulkhead, right down to here.
All these are swelling that much I can get my finger behind them.
I knew you'd give me another headache.
Well...
So you've got a headache now as well?
It's a shopping list. Yeah. A big shopping list.
It's a typical 50-odd-year-old Mini that's been used.
There is ones that's in better condition.
Oh, yeah.
There's ones in worse though as well, Baz.
Not many.
Unfortunately, there are no full shells available for the Mark II, so the only option is to use what we have and repair the rest.
To be fair, it deserves to be repaired.
Why?
Because it isn't totally dead and it keeps its character.
Overall, initial impression is...
In Burnley, our 1969 Mini Cooper is being rebuilt by Baz, who's in charge of bodywork.
What are you doing today?
I'm building a floor.
For us, by any chance?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that it might need it?
I'm pretty sure it needs it, yeah.
What? Why do you say that?
Because yours hasn't got one. Floors fell out of it.
It is an honest car, which makes for a good restoration. OK, it's got a few what I would call 70s repairs on it. I hear stories all the time. You know, most people have the first Mini and it had a hole in the floor. You know.
How was that?
Well, there you go, what's normal.
If you put a panel over a panel, that's what happens. It just turns to nothing. So it's so weak, you have a side impact on something like that and it'll just fold.
Over the years, our Mini has been repaired and repaired again. But unfortunately, in some areas, we now have no option but to replace original with new.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fairly big job, but it's what's needed. All up here, absolutely fine. Bob on, right to the top.
So, Baz will start with a brand new floor and sills, then work out what can and can't be saved from there up.
Cars are all built from base level. Everything I take off that car will go on to the top of these.
But before it does, the wiring needs a little attention.
John, you're our wire man.
I am your wireman, yes.
And if there was a particular word that you could use to sum up our wiring, what would that word be?
Well past its best, I think would be the sentence, but in one word, knackered. It's something that people believe, oh, well, it'll be all right, it looks all right. Yes, it may well look all right, but wire gets old, it gets brittle, it starts to oxidise, and then that creates a resistance, so that gets warmer, so that creates a bigger resistance, so eventually you've got a potential for a 3-bar fire.
Not something we want in our fully restored Mini. On to our engine next, which was the main difference between a standard Mini and the Mini Cooper. Some good news?
A ticking time bomb, engine and gearbox really, waiting to go bang.
We've heard better.
There's a build-up, you know, you've got wear in the gearbox, you've got the problems with the old oil build-up in the engine, the wear in the engine, it all combines.
That, and the lack of regular servicing, has led to a full engine rebuild, replacing anything that needs replacing.
These teeth start to lose the shape, and when they start to lose the shape, that's when you start to have the crunching or even jumping out of gear.
The main thing is that the core units are usable, the block, the crank, the cylinder head, casting. Everything else we can buy, can be replaced or it can be machined. So that's good.
Good for our Mini, not so good for our bank balance. As for our 1969 Mini Cooper,
I want one on each corner, one person on each corner.
Its new floor is ready to be fitted to the old shell.
Stay where you are. Just come down slowly. Come down onto that. Right, mind your fingers, it'll get you. That wants to come out there. That's it. Up.
How much tolerance have you got to play with?
None. No tolerance whatsoever.
The jig is key to keeping the whole car straight. It's a steel frame that the Mini's attached to while it's welded together.
you get something that's slightly out, it throws everything else. You've got to start with a straight floor, and it is. It's as good as I can make it.
Over to John in the wiring department, who's building a brand new loom.
We've looked at the old loom, it's in the bin. I've taken the bits I want out of it, so therefore we're going to put a new recipe together, put it in the car, and hopefully it'll all work.
The loom is built in 2 sections. This is the front that John's working on first.
That's the engine bay end. That's the interior of the car end. We're building from one end to the other. For instance, that's the headlight connectors, oil pressure, water temperature. That's the horn. This is the fuse box. Part done. A bit more to do to that yet. So that's really where we're at. I like to build my loom so that I start from one end to the other so I can part tape it as I'm going along, so I don't finish up with everything all over the place. And in theory, it's in the right place.
You sure?
No. No, I build them like this with my fingers crossed.
Once the front and rear looms are completed, the front is taped and the rear loom is braided as it was originally. But this didn't last long, and soon all the loom was taped.
Problem is they were putting more and more into the loom. People were wanting more and more things in it. And it just became to the point where the only way to do it was to tape it, to be able to neaten it. And braiding does take an awful lot of work.
But we're keeping our Mark II as original as possible, as long as the 50-year-old braiding machine plays a part.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? Yes, another one for me, fingers crossed, I'm thinking.
Back in the body shop, Baz is cracking on, but the bulkhead is still a problem.
The new bulkhead that we were going to put in didn't fit our jig. Holes are a different size. They're in a slightly different place. It's been a bit of a faff to repair because I've had to put all these corners in.
But repair it he has, along with any other corroded panels, including a new front end. And our missing doors have also arrived.
It's looking like a car.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Better get your paintbrush out then.
Better not. I prefer to use a roller myself. You mean you might want to try it.
Lancashire and our 69 Mini Cooper is being painted. We're using the original colours, Island Blue with a snowberry white roof.
It does look amazing. I don't normally blow up my own trumpet, but I think I've done a fairly good job.
Unfortunately, our hydroelastic suspension is not looking quite so shiny.
That's basically a wet system set up. There's not a chance they're going back on. We can't recondition them, and we can't buy new ones.
Which means we're changing to the more reliable dry suspension.
It's a sensible and what we would class as an acceptable upgrade, because at the end of the day, it's still standard. It's just a different standard to what this particular model would have been on.
And the brake calipers aren't looking too clever either.
No, I think the brakes have been under the sea with the hydroelastic units just as long.
So these will need replacing. And why buy new parts when you can make your own, just over the road? Toby is in charge of programming.
From seeing just a chunk of metal to turn it into something really complex with really tight tolerances to within 10 microns is pretty amazing to see. But these are a finished set of 7.5 brake calipers. I've gone from a stock billet to a completed component in 45 minutes.
Let the rebuild begin. First up is the fully reconditioned engine. Warren will be overseeing the mechanics.
What's going to be the tricky bit with it?
It's got to go in at an angle, so it's just getting it all in that tight space. And we don't want to disturb anything, scratch anything, and we want it to come out looking like brand new. All right, Tom, do you want to go down a little bit?
Oh, there we are. Bolts in.
All right.
But they're not always like that.
No, they're not always like that. Usually you struggle with them, you're trying to get bolt holes lined up, but that's gone in pretty smoothly for one of these.
This is the first time this engine's in the car, so...
And we've done it without scratching Baz's paintwork.
Exactly, that's the main thing. So he'll be happy.
In the trimming department, Adrian has been crafting our Mini's interior.
These are the original frames?
They're the original frames, original diaphragms, even down to the original plastic bag from the 60s.
We do have new seat covers and foam cushions though, all made using materials that adhere to modern fire regulations.
Help with the plastic bag from the 60s.
That's what the 1960s plastic bag was for?
Indeed, it was. Just made it to go on.
Originally, when the seats arrived here, at first we thought they don't look too bad.
They weren't too bad. The fronts were worse than the backs, obviously. But once you've done the fronts, the backs don't match. So you end up doing all of it.
So, following that mantra, Adrian has retrimmed our whole Mini using black vinyl, just as it left the factory in 1969.
This is where it all runs straight out of the bottom.
Yeah, put a fuel tank in, haven't you?
Yep. Fingers crossed I've put the pipes on the bottom.
And Warren, this is genuinely the moment of truth, isn't it?
Fingers crossed.
We're going to build a bit of oil pressure up to start with.
So we've got a clear tube here, so when I crack the union I'll be able to see the oil coming up. Okay? Coming up.
Oil pressure reached. Now, it's the big moment.
Great.
Not exactly what we'd hoped for.
We've knocked a wire off, have we, Warren? Should be 4 wires on here.
Let's have a look. No, that's right.
Ready, Wayne?
Go again.
Go again.
Right,
Starter.
Starter motor.
See, if it had to start at first go, nobody would have believed us, would they? But this is now part of
just how it
joys,
is.
isn't
That's
it?
just how it is.
So I assume it was sticking in.
Sometimes with all the clutch dust, you know, from obviously this hasn't run, but from before, it just gets stuck inside.
Look good, that, won't it? They're 10-inch, 4.5 by 10s. You go over the caliper.
So upgrade the calipers, the brakes, the whole lot, and you've got to put modern wheels, or we can't put the original build back on.
No, they're only marginally bigger, but that makes a big difference. It's a period-looking wheel, which will enhance the look of the car.
Moment of truth. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, happy with that? More than happy.
Sweet as a nut. That's absolutely amazing.
A big relief for everyone. A few more checks still to be done and trim to be added, but essentially our Mini is almost there.
It's an absolutely gorgeous, restored Mark II Cooper. It's probably better than new. Just got to remember we've got a 1960s car, but it's not 1960s prices.
I think at auction, probably 30, but I think it's worth 50.
We've got any idea of hours?
A lot.
Back in North Yorkshire, our Mini Cooper has just turned up, but unfortunately, so has the bill. The original purchase price, including tax and commission, was £16,132. Parts and materials, £28,851. And labour cost another £24,131, bringing our total to a not-so-mini £69,114.
Well, here we have a little Mini Cooper. 998 Mini Cooper. The strongest version of the Cooper family, without a doubt. Just stunning. Beautiful, beautiful restoration. The detail is excellent. The engine bay is superb. But, you know, when you finish off a stand platform like that, you know, to that sort of finish on there, which is as good as the finish on the wing, you know, that's all credit to the restorer. I mean, that's brilliant. I think that's really good. That's how it should be done. And that's how everybody wants their Mini to look. New carpets, obviously, reupholstered. Nice original steering wheel. New headlining by the looks of it. Beautiful. Everywhere you look, lovely. Can't ask for more than that, can you? Beautiful. I mean, I used to say, well, to people, it'll start as soon as you open the door. And that's about it, isn't it, really? It's perfect. And it'll do it again. Beautiful. Absolutely lovely. Beautiful. Sweet as a nut.
We spent our money well.
You've spent it well. I don't know what you've spent, but you've spent it with the right people. No doubt about that.
What do you think this car is worth now?
20 grand. Early 20s. Could go up to 25, 26, something on that line, because of what it is. You know, I can't see it hitting 30. I really can't. I'd love it too, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be worth it, but I can't see it hitting 30.
So the bar has been set.
Lot number 468, which is the 1969 Morris Mini Cooper. 25, 26, 27, 28, you hang on a minute. 28,000 on here, 29,000 on here, £29,000. Right. Go in there, £29,000. This can only increase in value. 29,500. 30. There we go. 30,000. 30,000. 30,500. Sweetening it a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
30,500. Go in then. Selling it?
Yeah.
Sure?
Absolutely.
Being sold. Gavin, you're the man. 30,500. Sold. 30,500.
There you go. He got a bargain there, hasn't he?
Gavin Kent from Suffolk is the man who bagged that bargain.
Oh my goodness, Reuben, look at that. Oh, how happy am I, Reuben? Better than I thought. Absolutely stunning. I don't think I've ever seen one this good, and I think that's just special. Very happy, very, very happy. Just got to convince the kids now. The detail in there, Reuben, is unbelievable.
I don't like old cars. It's too small.
Each to their own, but Gavin seems happy.
Feels like I'm 17 again and I'm in my first car. You know, I never had the money back then to own and drive a Cooper, so this is the first Cooper I've ever owned. It's been 55 years coming and I'm one happy man now.